So, hi Victor, welcome to Wani. How's the festival going?
Well, I mean, so far I haven't seen that much of the festival, to be honest. I mean, we arrived at noon or something, and of course we didn't see what happened for the last 2 days. And for now, of course, it's just like arriving, finding our place, get some food, and now giving interviews.
Yep.
So I haven't had the chance to see any bands so far.
Yep.
And it's gonna be a quite busy day for us anyways. I mean, we do a couple of new things with this show that we haven't done before, ever. So it's also including some parts of the stage setup, but also some of the instrumentation or amps that we are using, so I also have to be there for the changeover.
Okay.
And then, I mean, we play the show, and then we have a signing session, and then we leave, so there's not much spare time to hang out and have party.
Yep. So playing Wacken is considered one of the greatest, I guess, achievements in metal. What does it mean to not only yourself, but Triptykon as a band to be invited to play on these stages?
Well, of course it means a lot, and I mean, it especially means a lot that we've been invited for the second time already. We already had a very good position in 2011, but back then the situation was that we were jumping in on short notice for Cradle of Filth, who had cancelled. And yeah, now this time we are having a similar or almost better position, and that's the biggest achievement for us, that we can come back and prove this time to come here as not just as a replacement band, but to be here really on the main stage, and that's quite a big thing, of course.
How do you think it's going to compare to playing some of the other festivals, like you mentioned Hellfest, but...
well, with Hellfest I was there with my other band, Dark Fortress, this year, but we played it last year, Triptykon. Well, honestly, I don't expect it to be super easy for us. I don't expect it to be like a triumph, because I'm aware that Wacken is not really our crowd. It's like Wacken is just it's more mainstream. I mean, I don't mean that in any offense. It's just as it is. And it's like it's a big party. I think a lot of people come here just as an annual event to have a good time, have party, and so on. And Triptykon is not a party band at all. So I think that a lot of people that don't know who we are, they might be like a bit scared away. And I mean, before us is Steel Panther, after us is Twisted Sister, and between that Triptykon. So I think we are a bit the odd ones on this evening's main stage. I think so. I think some people will appreciate it and some people will hate it. So it's not going to be a triumph. It's hard work.
And also, I guess Triptykon as a band have evolved since the formation when they originally started, and not only in terms of your sound but also in terms of your live performance. It sort of takes a metalhead on a journey. Does it get difficult to carry the organic and raw sound on the album and translate that into a live performance as well, or?
Actually, I don't think it's that difficult for us, because all the songs, how we write them, they get born in the rehearsal room. It's not like a lot of bands write their music in the studio and just on a computer, and then they have to think about, how are we going to transfer it to a live situation. It's like the basic tracks of the songs, almost for all of the songs it goes like this, that mostly Tom comes with ideas, or I write something, and then we bring it together in the rehearsal room and arrange it together, and then we can see what works, and then keep on working at home on that, and then bringing the ideas back into the rehearsal room. And in the studio it's just like additional arrangements that are coming on top of these things. But since these songs are all born in a quite organic way, as a four-piece, as the band, so it's not that difficult for us to bring them on stage. I mean, of course, there are some songs that we have never played live before, where we need like different sounds. Like usually we just play with the JCM 800s, which is just our signature sound, but which is quite limited. You just have that one sound. And if you need clean sounds with echoes and stuff, it's almost impossible to do that. But for this show, I have a second rig, and now we are playing songs that we've never played before, like Boleskin House, for example, Aurore, well, we played that one time now, but we're gonna play that too. And we also play Obscured from Monotheist, also a song that has never been performed before. And for like these two songs, Obscured and Boleskin House, we also have a female singer with us, like the original singer who performed them on the album. So this is quite some new stuff that we are doing today.
Cool.
So it is gonna be something quite special, and it shows also some facets of the band that we haven't really shown live.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of true that we always like focus on the heavy parts, but I think that especially on the albums for Triptykon, also the atmospheric, the kind of Pink Floyd-y thing is a very important part of the band, and that's something that we haven't shown live that much. I agree on that. So, but we're gonna do that today.
Yep.
So I think it's a very versatile set list, and I hope it comes across very well. Because I mean, you were asking if it's difficult for us to bring the studio thing into the live situation, and well, I mean, today is the day where we did some new things and put some extra effort into making that happen.
Yeah. Cool. So I guess what I was getting at is, do you still feel inspiration from Thomas playing guitars? Obviously, he was a big influence on you before you joined.
Was it? No, I mean, I always liked Celtic Frost and appreciated it, but it was like, as me, when I started as a musician and learned playing guitar, actually Celtic Frost was not an influence on me. It was other things. I had classical lessons for like 3-4 years, and that of course was an inspiration. And then it was like some of the more like the early 90s black metal stuff, like Mayhem, and then of course like Slayer and Metallica. So these were the influential things that kind of formed me as a guitar player in the start. And then of course you take these things and try to make your own stuff out of it. And that like really I got into like really playing Celtic Frost like before I auditioned with them. Yeah. But I mean, the good thing is, with my other band, Dark Fortress, we supported Celtic Frost on their very first comeback shows. So I saw them during soundcheck, and there I was so fucking impressed with the guitar sound, with the guitar tone. I went on stage and wanted to see which gear are the guys using, because I was so fascinated by that sound, and that of course impressed me a lot. And
do you still get that sort of surprise when you see Thomas churn out some of the riffs?
Well, I mean, it's like when we don't rehearse for a while, and then we come back to the room, and we just crank up the amps and we start playing. Like usually we just, to get warm, we play Procreation of the Wicked, and then you just start that. It's always like, it's quite impressive, and just to hear that tone, it's really nice.
Cool. So you're eight years in, only 2 albums. Yeah. I mean, what sort of?
It feels more like 7, because the first time we rehearsed as 4 people, I think, was in January 2009.
Okay.
But 7, 8.
Yeah, no, alright. What sort of attributes do you think has led to that sort of delay between?
Well, I mean, we worked pretty fast with the first album, actually. I mean, we started as a 4-piece and rehearsing in 2009 in the very beginning. And actually already went to studio in August, I think, if I have it correctly in mind. And of course, like the whole process, manufacturing process, takes a while, so it was released in early 2010. Well, and then it was 4 years for the next album. That was a bit longer than we were hoping for, but I think it was also like, that was mainly between the first and the second album. Tom was going through a very difficult period in his life, like on a personal level. And that kind of prolonged things quite a bit. I think there were a lot of things that, I mean, he could talk about that. I don't want to talk about his personal things that he was going through back at that time, but of course, that delayed things. Also, like, I think he also felt like having a writer's blockage at a certain point, but I'm glad we got over that and finally were able to make Melancholy Sonata. But it's also probably a reason why the album sounds so dark and abysmal, because that's just what we put into the album. It was just the emotions that were there.
Yep.
That doesn't make it very easy to make the album at all, because it's quite unpleasant, actually, some of the emotions that are in there. And I mean, like, Triptykon is in a way a new band, you know.
Yeah.
But in a way, it's also just like the successor to Celtic Frost, in a way.
Yes.
Like, I mean, nobody bothers if Slayer take like 5 years for a new album, because it's a normal thing for bands from the 80s that it takes like 5 years to make a new album. And in a way, it's similar with Triptykon, that we just take our time. And I mean, we have these 2 albums, and we have all the big back catalogue from what Celtic Frost
yes,
was.
definitely. Yep.
So we don't have the pressure to make a new album every 2 years, and we just. Yeah, I mean, if we make a new album, it has to be a significant album, and it just takes time.
Yeah. So you want each album to be a statement.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. Just making an album for fulfilling the regular business cycle of touring, making an album. Triptykon is not part of that.
Yeah.
Tom doesn't want that, and it's good. It is his good right after more than 30 years in the scene.
Yeah. So I guess in saying that, given that it has been 2 years since Malema Kosmata came out,
yeah.
Are fans going to have to wait for another couple of years for new material, or have you been working on new material?
We're at it, but
You're at it?
I learned one thing from the interviews I gave after Eperesta Haramones, that I'm not gonna make any predictions of how long it's gonna take, because I made this mistake before and it took much longer. And I think what we plan is just we're not gonna telling anybody about the album, not even the record company.
Yeah.
We just do it, and when we are like about in the final mix and know that everything is gonna be good, then we talk about it.
Yeah.
Before that, it's just like we don't want to put any kind of pressure on ourselves, like having a deadline, because it's not a good thing to have.
That sounds cool. I think that's one thing that a lot of bands these days don't sort of focus on, is that if you're taking that pressure off yourselves to produce something within a certain time frame, then you're going to produce the very best that you can produce.
I mean, sometimes pressure can be good, and sometimes it can also be like healthy, just to get things done, but it can also be very counterproductive. And maybe it's also like the weird thing how the music industry developed in a certain way, that albums are not considered as important as like years ago, because like, yeah, it's all about playing live, and sometimes it feels like that bands just make a new album to have an excuse to go on tour again.
Yeah.
And that's absolutely not how we perceive albums. For us, albums are still like the thing, or the most important thing, and that's why they need to age and evolve and develop.
Cool. So you yourself are an acclaimed producer. I love your work.
Thank you. I mean, that's what you're saying.
Especially on your recently released Obscura album.
Ah, okay.
Yep. The way that you managed to shine out Linus's bass lines on them, on the tracks, is amazing, and it's a sound amidst the chaos that Obscura is known for. Are there any other bands that you are currently working with at the moment, or?
Well, the next band I'm working with is actually from a guy who's working with Central Media. It's called Nailed Into Obscurity. But what I just did with a good friend of mine, we together worked on the upcoming Bölzer album.
Yep.
So that's a kind of cool thing, I think. Because I think lots of people waiting for the Bölzer debut finally. And I'm always busy, basically. Too busy.
That's definitely a good thing.
Yeah, but I really have to take care of myself, and I'm bad in saying no, but I really have to learn that, because I'm getting way more requests than I can do, and it's always like with studio work, you schedule something for 20 days, and then sometimes it just takes 20 days or 18 days, but it can also just monster out and become like 30 or 35 days, and then you think like, I have a week free after that, and then the whole free week is being eaten up, and have like 7 days, 14-hour sessions, and then the next thing, so I really have to take care of myself, not to burn myself out.
Cool. I guess finally in closing, you're doing this current European festival run.
Yeah, but it's just a few festivals.
Yeah, it is just a few festivals, but are there any touring plans after that?
No, not before we have a new album out.
Okay.
I think then we go into touring. before that, we really wanted to keep it low profile this year.
Yep. Cool. Fair enough.
Ideas instead.
Definitely. Definitely. All right. Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.
Yeah. I'll just stop this.